and the upcoming people, the generations will also understand what that specific literature was all about. That is the reason literature never stops. It joins the other faculties of the society or of the world into it. As you can say, if it is also called non-fiction literature. Why it is called non-fiction literature? Because it is not fiction. It is something that we can say realistic. The realistic picture of the societies, the realistic pictures of the cultures, of the histories, of the lives of the people, of the mindsets of the people. This is the reason that it is called non-fiction. But when we call fiction prose or fiction literature, so it encapsulates different meaning. Because you see that fiction literature or fiction novel, they talk about, I would say, the imaginative things, the things that even though the part of the reality, but they are not the primary part of the reality. They are sometimes secondary part of the reality, talking about fiction works. Sometimes they are thrice part of the reality, means that that information that is put into that fictional work, it is removed thrice-ly or triply from the realities of the societies. So that is the reason that we call it fictional literature or fictional prose. And this talks about another imaginative world. But non-fictional world, it means non-fictional prose. It means that this talks about the world of reality, the world as it exists. It is the depiction of that world into the real sense. And you will understand definitely when you will going through the essays that this statement is true enough, because you will see that everything that he has talked about, Francis Bacon has talked about, is really touchable to the lives of the human beings. It is really touchable. So you will feel I would say that the essence of Francis Bacon's writings into his essays, that how he has actually touched the reality and the different segments of reality in a real sense. Okay, so Francis Bacon reformed the English prose style by reducing all above said shortcomings. It is not wrong to say that Francis Bacon introduced a new style of prose writing. Following are some stylistic qualities of Bacon's essays. So you have these qualities, characteristics you can say, or some features of non-fiction prose. What is first? Short and concise sentences. And in the former writings of Raleigh and Hooker, we came to know that they have talked about the long sentences. And you know, long sentences, they are not all the time understandable, because if one sentence is divided into three different sections, and each talks about different idea, so you are trying to understand one idea. Until then, if you just come towards the second idea, you forget about the first idea. And then the third idea, probably you forget about the first idea. So it is not an easy way to remember all the concepts and all the ideas in a sequence in the long sentences. So just to, I would say that manage a good style of writing, Francis Bacon has managed to write short and concise sentences, so that one concise sentence may give its sense properly and completely to the readers and to the audience. Second, no parenthesis. Because no parenthesis mean there is no information that needs to be explained, that needs an explanation. So there is no information that he is not using difficult jargons, is not using difficult words, is not using difficult characters. He is not using, I would say, difficult situations in which he has to explain in every single sentence about that thing that he has talked about. So that is the reason he used simple language, simple sentences, simple vocabulary, so that he may not to put any information in the parentheses or in the bracket. So he didn't use, Francis Bacon didn't use brackets or parentheses. Clarity. Because if he is clear enough in using the ideas about the human being's life, then definitely people will understand. So what is the sole purpose of writers? To make their audience, the sole purpose of making their audience understandable is the main purpose or the sole purpose of the writers, because they do not want that the people may read your writings, and if you have used difficult words, difficult jargons, difficult situations, and people just kept on saying, oh wow, this is one of the greatest writers I've ever studied. Like, what is, you can say that the difficulty in assessing the words, in assessing the situations, like you can see that there is a few section of the society, a few number of the people who actually study Allama Iqbal. What is the reason behind? Because the ideas, the language, the depth of the ideas, how he has talked about every single statement in philosophical way. So like people do not study him in the same way as the people, most of the people study Hafiz, Hafi, then Amir, then Zayoon, then what is his name? Wasisha, and all of the other people. Because they speak in simple language. They do not, I would say, that take difficult ideas, difficult words. So it is not, I would say, that all the time true. But you have to just assess the taste of the people too. Because at that time of Allama Iqbal, people were, I would say, they were sensible enough. They had the knowledge of Urdu. They had the knowledge of what was that language of, I forgot about. So different languages that he has actually used in his poetry or in his book. So assessing those ideas were easy at that time, but now we cannot understand. So this does not, I would say, that all the time the same. So clarity. He focused on the clarity. He focused on understanding of the ideas in a simple way, in clear ways, so the people can understand. Then the rhythm and coherence. You see that he can easily assess the rhythm and coherence in his prose writing. Like rhythm and coherence doesn't mean that you are writing prose in a poetic style and you are just measuring the sounds of rhyming schemes and all these things. No. Rhythm and coherence means that there is a sequence of the events, organization of the happenings. Then there is a sequence of the ideas. He has actually built everything in a sequence, in an organized way, that it gives you a gradual impression of his writings. Like you are just writing from the introduction to the ending, to the end, till the end. So this is, you can say, the rhythm and the coherence, that you didn't feel yourself astray. You never feel yourself astray in any of the section of his essays where you feel that no, I was here and now I am just I am somewhere else, because I could not understand that idea. So like he has I would say written his essays in a sequence, in an organized thought, that you will just start his essay from I would say from the starting, and then you will gradually go to the climax and then to the end. And every single line is full of worldly knowledge, full of practical knowledge. Then, sorry. Then aphoristic style. Aphoristic style is all about to make something concise, to make something short. And this is also called as the proverbial style. Proverbial, to talk something in proverbs. You know that proverbs, as you have some idiomatic proverbs and all the other things. So aphoristic style is actually to make something short, to concise something, to, I would say, summarize something, to say some big ideas in a small sentence, in a small proverb, and this is called aphoristic style. And he was famous. He was famous for his aphoristic style or for his aphorism, Francis Bacon. So we can say that how he is uh, he's famous with while using this style of aphorisms, because this is the reason that the prose writings were accepted by literature. Okay, so that is the reason. So when we talk about you can say the concepts of literature. So literature is not in this simple language anymore. The prose of Francis Bacon is not the simple language anymore. Why? Because you see that when he used aphorisms, aphorism is all about to all the explanation and illustration, I would say, regarding society, regarding culture, regarding anything. They have to give a short form. They have to give a short form, a summarized form in aphorisms. So what you do when you read that essay, and what you do, you have to explain every single line, every single word, and then you come towards the same explanation that the writer has gathered with his knowledge, with his experience. So it means that this is the reason, this is the aphoristic style that was, that actually caused this prose as the most important genre of literature. Then the themes related to worldly knowledge. So like he has touched all the sections and segments of the society with a practical approach. Like he did not talk about only as, okay, like I think that the people are like this and the people are like that, not with the generalization. He was very particular, he was very specific about every character, specific about every section and segment of the society. So he talked about with his practical approach, I would say. And there are a few writers in the world who took the practical experience into their writings. Like sometimes writers have to wait more than, I would say, that 2 years, 3 years, 5 years to write about something. Okay, so that is the, I would say, the real reason. And then they write something about, so that is, I would say, that the remarkable piece of writing. So we see that he has talked about the worldly wisdom with practical knowledge. He experienced the things. He went into the into the societies. He interacted with the people. He took the live experience of the thing, the practical experience of the thing, and then with every single detail that he has gathered from the experiences of the people, and he, as he observed himself, so he actually gathered everything, every little detail into his essay after sifting the ideas, after straining the ideas. So this is what we can say, that aphoristic style and the themes related to the worldly wisdom. Okay, I just need to send a message to Director Saab, because he just sent a message to me. So just 2 minutes. Okay, Ji. So we were talking about that Francis Bacon has, through his prose writing, shared some of the important ideas, some of the important, I would say, some of the practical knowledge about the humanity, so that they may reform themselves with that worldly knowledge and practical knowledge of Francis Bacon. And now we will see that what was the conciseness of as one of the major stylistic qualities of Francis Bacon. So, what are the major stylistic qualities of Francis Bacon, and what is the concept of conciseness? So, you can say that Bacon uses short and concise sentences. His purpose is to explain his philosophy in lesser words, so the people can easily understand. We hardly find any essay which is too long. So every essay of Francis Bacon is short enough. So you can easily read that essay even though in 5 minutes or in 10 minutes with easy language, and you can understand that. A message which requires a paragraph, he can convey it in few words, and that too without losing its meanings. So the best thing about his essays is to maintain the sense and the understanding of every line or of every essay. You know that this is the most difficult task that a writer confronts whenever they have to write anything like related to the people or related to anything, because sometimes the writer loses his grip on I would say on the sense or on the understanding of the lines or of the ideas. But he didn't do that. He has actually cleverly managed all the ideas, organized all the ideas into his every single essay, so that the meaning may not get lost. Then scarcely any other writer of this era has this kind of ability. In short, he keeps his subject focused, clear, and concise. And then you already know about the parentheses. So, clarity in prose style of Francis Bacon. Bacon's words and sentences are lucid, and there is no ambiguity in them. So they are clear enough. They are clear enough, they are crystal clear, you can easily understand the meaning. So there is no obscure language, there are no vague ideas, unclear ideas, so you can easily understand them. There are allusions in his essays, even then there is no vagueness. What are allusions? The references back to the history, to the monarchy, to the other subjects, to the other happenings, but still this does not make his writing or essays vague, unclear. His style has attraction, and it appeals to the readers due to clarity. He chooses simple and common words. Like previous writers, he too uses similes and metaphors, but they are not far-fetched. So he uses simple language, simple ideas, simple devices like similes and metaphors. He also gives examples mostly from everyday life experiences. Even a layman can understand his philosophy. Clarity in this way is another important ingredient of prose style of Sir Francis Bacon. So you can see that as this piece of writing is written in an easy language and in simple language, and it is making you clear, making you understandable about every single idea about Francis Bacon. So same is the case of Francis Bacon. But you know that there is an influence of language of the Elizabethan time. So sometimes you know that the ideas, the language is not easily gettable in a sense. But at that time, the essays for the readers and the audience at that time, they were easily accessible and understandable. Because when the people had to compare William Shakespeare, Christopher Marlowe with Francis Bacon, and then they found Francis Bacon more easy writer than Ben Jonson, than William Shakespeare and Christopher Marlowe. So easily understandable, layman can easily understand itself. So the rhythm and the coherence. Besides Besides clarity and conciseness, coherence actually has its own importance. Lack of coherence in sentences means lack of interest of the readers. So Bacon knows it, therefore, there is a kind of rhythm in his essays. He elucidates his philosophy step by step. He divides subtopics in paragraphs. Several critics appreciate coherence in Bacon's essays. Coherence is harmony, and harmony increases the interest of the readers. It means coherence is actually in a sequence form, and it really enhances and increases the interest of the reader when they are actually going through the writings of Francis Bacon. Aphoristic style, so it is an epigrammatic style of writing. All above mentioned qualities fall in it. Aphoristic style prefers describing facts and truths. We know that Francis Bacon does not create a utopian world in his essays. Utopian world means the world of imagination, the world of creativity. Not creativity, you can call the world of imagination, where everything seems possible. So he is known for his worldly philosophy. One can become successful in this world if he follows him. Hence his philosophy is based on truths and facts. He may be the meanest kind of person, yet he always speaks the truth. So his philosophy is very clear and very vivid for everyone. He elucidates his philosophy step by step so the people can easily understand, and this is, you can say, the remarkability of his works. Aphoristic style is the combination of following qualities. So these are the following qualities of his work. And each feature talks about, you can say, separately and collectively about his writing style of, I would say, of his aphoristic style. So the first is the epigram. You can call it that it is a brief but an intellectual talk or intellectual statement or intellectual saying. Epigram. Rather, it is brief, but it is intellectual. It possesses the intellectuality in it, intellectual meanings in it. So that is epigram. Straightforwardness. The second is straightforwardness. Like, instead of you are using any medium to express your thoughts, to express your ideas about any particular situation, so he does not use that particular medium. That is giving an indirect exposure to his talk or exposure to his, I would say, style. No, he uses direct style. He uses direct, I would say, he is very straightforward in his approach that really touches the lives of the people. So he does not, I would say, that twist his statements most of the time, twist with different imaginative situations. No, he really touches the life of the people straightforwardly or straightly, without any, I would say, twist and turn. Then the truthfulness, because whatever he has talked about, it is based upon the live experiences of the people and of Francis Bacon's, I would say, life himself. So he is, whatever he is actually including as a subject in the essays, so that is based on the truthfulness. It is based on the experiences. It is based on the facts and the knowledge that he has collected lively by going into the societies, by going and visiting the people and different sections and segments of the society. So that is the reason we can say that truthfulness is another important element of Francis Bacon's essays. Then impartiality and impersonality. So like sometimes you know that we see that writers are unbiased, or sometimes writers are unbiased and they are not taking sides. So he was doing the same. It means that he was treating all the people impartially without taking their sides. It means if someone is poor and someone is rich, so he treats both of them equally, without any, I would say, without any class consciousness or without any personal advantages and benefits. So he treats any person with the same, I would say, with the same technique, with the same method. So he does not distinguish in the sense of that, okay, someone is actually rich enough or someone is actually poor enough, so I just need to take the people in the same sense or in the same medium. No, he does not do that. Then the impersonality, that is, it means that he is unbiased, not personal in that sense, and he is actually a man who is not, I would say, as a writer. He does not think as a writer, but he thinks as a humanist, because he cares about every person's right in that age or in every age. So it is, I would say, the impersonality of his ideals, that he represents the humanity. He does not represent any individual. So he represents the, I would say, humanity. So he was a humanist too in his approach. Okay. So when we have some themes, and they are all about, the themes are all about, you can say, the themes that he has discussed most, he has actually included most in his essays. So just take a look quickly at some of the major themes. Okay, so we see that so far as themes of his essays are concerned, we know that Bacon was a man of world and a politician. Most of the themes used by him are related to worldly wisdom, means the practical wisdom, the practical knowledge of everything that he has included in his essays. Then the ethical qualities. So I would not say that a writer who has written something extraordinary or who has written something about the gigantic subjects, about the gigantic philosophies, and still he does not talk about morality. He does not talk about ethical. So that is not a great writer in my opinion. So we can say that ethical qualities must be in the writer, because these are the things that the people will understand. You know that one writer possesses the whole humanity, possesses the whole, represents the whole society as well. So when we read him, we read that writer, what we do, we try to follow that writer. And if that writer is mistaken, if that writer is deviated, devastated, hopeless, so the society will also be hopeless. You know that this must be the quality of the writer, that he must talk sensible. He must represent the people in an ethical way, in the moral way. So the people may understand something, people may get something, people may change themselves, people may reform themselves according to that ethic and moral attitudes. Okay, so this is the reason, I would say. Then the government, definitely whenever a writer who is a representative of the people, of the society, and it is not so that that writer will not be talking about or criticizing the government, because you know that in every age, government is only the one, I would say, that burning issue that still remains unfulfilled. Government is, because this is a mixture of every type of people. This is the government body. So in that, you know that you feel and you have every type of people, people from the low morals, people from the high morals, people from the poor section, people from the rich section, people from every segment of the society. So that is the reason this hodgepodge cannot be easily understandable or cannot be easily understood. The writers have to talk about the government by criticizing the policies, by criticizing their progresses in the society, their lackness, their weaknesses. So that is the reason we can say that he has also talked about the government in his essays. Then the state and the science. So science, you know that in every age, whenever there is writer, so then there is the science. Because the science is that is developing in every age. Like you see that in 15th century there was science, 16th century there was science, and science never stopped. It was developing in every age. It was, you can say, advanced in every age. So a writer's responsibility is to talk about every section. That also includes the religion, that also includes the government, that also includes the science, that also includes the society, the culture, tradition, the customs, everything. That is the reason that he has also touched the state matters and the scientific inventions and technologies in his writing, and we will also be studying about that as well. So we can say that collectively his experience in every field of life is magnificent. Does he share it with his readers? He is a moralist, though his morality is related to you can say the worldly success, and his thematic concept is more related to the world. And I would say that his approach is Machiavellian, yeah, and by giving solid example from history, he proves it right. Okay, so Machiavellian is a kind of rule that is followed by many other, I would say, that the government or many politicians also. What that rule is all about? It is a rule in which you see that even though the negative characters or the people who actually possess the negative qualities or the negative characteristics, they can also hold the society, they can also hold the government. So Machiavellian type of philosophy is, I would say, that is a villainous type of totalitarianism, in which you can control, how you can control the government and the state by hook or crook, even though by immoral means, how you can control the state. So that is also, I would say, that Machiavellian philosophy by Francis Bacon. Okay, so we have also some of the weaknesses in his writings. So, but I think that we are short of time. So I think that we must end our, yes, but no, I think that our lecture will be ended at 1:30, isn't it?
Yes. Yes.
Okay then, that's good then. So we have only 2 paragraphs to read, and I hope so that you will be done with this after 5 minutes. Weakness is in prose, a style of Francis Bacon, that there are some weaknesses which are noteworthy. Sometimes his grammatical structure loses. He makes his sentence concise, but readers see its effect directly on grammar. However, I must say that it does not affect meanings of the words. Furthermore, he uses excessive Latin phrases which sometimes create difficulty. So we can say that there are some weaknesses in his style too, because he cannot maintain the grammatical structure in his writings, and he has also used some of the Latin phrases and words in his essays without any explanation, because the former writers, if they have used some Latin words and vocabulary, but they have used brackets and parentheses to add that information, additional information about those words and phrases and jargons in those parentheses, but he didn't do that. So that is the reason we can say that, okay, sometimes the language is difficult when we cannot understand the vocabulary or difficult sentence structures, grammatical rules that he has used. So now we can come to conclusion, that is our concern. So Francis Bacon is commonly known as father of English prose and essays because of his style. There is no match for him, and hitherto he had a busy life. Therefore, he hardly found time for writing, yet his talent of writing was unsuppressed. So, up till now, English literature is indebted to him for making large Reformation English prose, indeed, he would be remembered every time, and easy an essay is written. So this is Francis Bacon's, you can say, literary style, his philosophies, his worldly knowledge, how he talks about the people and the life, how he covers and represents all the sections of the society, I would say, intelligently in his works, in his essays, and that is the reason that he is remembered, even though till in this age, because he is invincible. And this is the beauty and remarkability of his essays and of his work, that he actually made one of the fatherly figure of the prose writing at that time, and even though in today's time. So this was all about Francis Bacon. I hope so that you have understood every bit of his style, of his features and characteristics about Francis Bacon. And then, inshallah, in the next class, we will be studying his essays. I will be sharing course outline with you people in the group, so you may also get the material relevant to his essays. So I think that there are 3 or 4 essays of studies of single life and marriage life, and then of truth and of studies. So these are, I think, 4 essays of Francis Bacon that you have to study, and then it is not the complete course outline. Definitely, then we have Jonathan Swift's Gulliver Travels, then we have Stuart Mill's The Subjection of Women, and there are, I think, the 2 or 3 other things that we have to study also. Okay, so if you have any question, you can ask me right now about the things that we have discussed today, about Francis Bacon, and relatively the other things. So you can ask any question that you like to. Yes, anyone?
Assalamu alaikum, sir.
Yeah, walaikum salam.
Sir, prose will be in free verses.
I would say that it is prose is in a prosic style. Like there is no meter, there is no rhyme. It is kind of, you can say that free verses, but verses are something else. So you can say it is in a prosic style. Prose is in a long, fictitious narrative style, because prose can be comfortably called as prosic, long, fictitious narrative style. That is, I think, better to say.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
You're welcome. Yes, anyone else?
About the Machiavellian style. So
I couldn't get you, Tai. Please, can you be specific and clear enough, because I cannot hear you. What you did say?
I have because I am feeling a little bit confusion in it. So can you repeat it in your own and people?
Sorry. Can you please ask the question in the comment bar, because I am not getting your voice properly. Yes, anyone else till then? Yeah? Who needs to ask anything about today's lecture, about Francis Bacon, about the life, about all the other things, you can ask me right now. Yes? Okay, sir, I couldn't understand. Okay, so I would say that Machiavellian style of, okay, let me explain. Machiavellian style of writing is actually to achieve one's goal, and I would say that with any medium, with any source, with any means. Like you can deceive the people, you can murder the people sometimes, but you are so focused on your, I would say, ambition, that you have to follow that task. Okay, so you have to follow that task. Like you can take example of Othello's, what was his name? Iago. Iago was the man who actually suited for this type of philosophy of Machiavellism. And this Machiavellian philosophy is actually perfect to use for Iago, because Iago is the person who plots, conspires against Othello and Desdemona to achieve his status back. Because you know that there was another, I forgot that name of that person. I think it was Rodrigo, who was actually promoted on the place of Cassio, I think, who was promoted on the place of Iago. But Iago then wanted his place back, his status back, because he wanted to be he wanted himself to be promoted at the place, but he sees that there was someone else who was promoted. So just to get his position, or just to get what he deserves, actually, what he did, he plotted against, he conspires against Othello and Desdemona, and then he plots against everyone around there just to get that position. So this is, you can say, the Machiavellian philosophy, in which a person is entrusted and so focused to achieve his goal, and no matter what means and sources he used for it. Is that clear? Is that clear?
Yes, sir, it is.
Okay, thank you so much. Okay, so yes, redefine non-fiction prose. You know that non-fiction, fiction is all about, as I've told, imaginative things, like the things when anything that is full of literary devices, that is full of literary devices, figurative devices, symbolic devices. That is actually, I would say, the best work to talk about fiction. But on the other side, when you talk about non-fiction, non-fiction is all about the realistic things. Non-fiction is all about the reality, the truthfulness, the rationality that a writer uses to depict any situation. And the writer tries his full not to include anything related to imagination, or related to, I would say, that a kind of a utopian world that will be disturbing the thoughts of the people, because the writer prefers to include the subjects, prefers to include the people from the real life, from the real experiences. He does not talk about those things that the people haven't observed, people haven't seen, people haven't experienced. That is the reason he takes the life of the real life, and when it is fiction, when it is it is prose, when it is poetry, when it is novel, so that is another genre. But non-fiction is all about the truthfulness, it is all about the facts, it is all about the reality that the writer depicts. But what style he uses, that is another matter. That is prose, it can be poetry, it can be novel, it can be any other style. Is that clear, Palvishna?
Yes, sir. आप ना कि जो नॉन फिक्शन है इसमें कम डिवाइसेस वगैरह यूज होती हैं, तो फिर इसके साथ कैसे मतलब बहुत ज्यादा कॉन्सेप्ट से एक ही बात में कन्वे किए जा सकते हैं?
Like, there is, yes, please be
मतलब
specific.
सिंबलिज्म वगैरह यूज करके तो समझ आती है ना कि एक चीज के बहुत सारे मतलब वो कह लेंगे मीनिंग निकल सकते हैं, लेकिन उसके बगैर मतलब कम लिटरेरी डिवाइसेस को या क्लैरिटी से बात करके कैसे जो है वो बहुत ज्यादा चीजें जो हैं वो एक चीज में डिस्कस की जा सकती हैं?
You can easily do that, because whenever your life is full of experiences. Let me give you an example of his essays. He used of great places. He used a line in which he says that men at great places are thrice servants. So now everyone can easily understand that men at great places are thrice servants, the servants of the state, the servants of the family. It means that this is how he does this. So now there is no literary device. There is no, I would say, any imaginative or fictional idea that he has talked about. He has simply talked about the experience that men at great places are thrice servants. On the other side, let me give you another example of his another essay that is about the single life of single life. He said that the bachelors, he talked about the bachelors, the single people. They are good human. They are good, I would say, like there are many things that he has talked about, that they are good people, they are good human, they are good workers, they are good in every matter, but they are not good subjects. They are not good subjects. You know that the bachelors are not good subject all the time. This is also based on the experience, the life experience. It means that he has taken everything with the experience, with the worldly knowledge, with the practical knowledge, and that is his approach. And like he didn't use some, I would say, literary devices, much literary devices in this, but I have given you two different examples. But still we can understand. Still we can understand without even though the literary devices. Is that fine?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Is anyone else? No question at all? Okay then, I think that if you have to ask, then you can ask me right now. Otherwise, I think that we must end this call. But if someone has recorded today's lecture, so that person needs to share the link of YouTube or lecture in the group also, so that the people who haven't joined today, I think that, yes, Palvisha, will you please give me another favor to write? Otherwise, Tuba is here. Yes, Tuba, you will do that. So you
Yes,
have,
sir. Yes, sir. I had the attendance of the students.
okay, then it's fine then. So you have to just share the attendance, the absentees of today's class in the group also, and to me as well. Okay, I think that there are almost 17 students are absent today. So that they may also know about their absence, because we are the only people who are feeling their absence. So they may also feel their absence too.
Okay, sir.
Okay then, yeah, okay then, take care, Allah Hafiz, and have a good time, have a good day, bye bye, Allah Hafiz.